This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 8:24, Monday, August 11th, right here on Jocks 94.5. We're going to get to Matt Moscona here in just a moment, discuss Garret Nussmeier, some potential injury issues there in Baton Rouge. But first, it looks like the heat's going to crank back up again this week here in Alabama. Felt great late last night, or late yesterday evening, later afternoon. That heat and humidity can be brutal, though. Don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jocks. Find a comfort specialist near you at Trane.com. It's hard to stop a Trane. All right, Matt Moscona joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Making a bunch of appearances in the Netflix SEC series that's on right now. Did you know this was coming? Did you know they use it this much of your audio?
So I haven't seen it yet, but yes, whenever when they were putting that together, the Netflix folks reached out for permission to use whatever. And I didn't we've had a lot of our stuff ripped off for documentaries over the year, which cool. Great. I'm always happy to let people use it. But the Netflix protocol is pretty intense. Like they want signed forms, waivers, time-stamped everything that they want. So I don't know what they used, but they had permission to use a bunch of it. I'm glad they did.
Yeah, they used actually a lot of your stuff to kind of show what Kelly and Nussmeier were listening to, getting pissed off about what you were saying. So congrats to you for being the guy that gives them that fuel.
Well, I guess I'll have to see it now because it's just basically par for the course. It's a day that ends in Y.
And I'll say this: the cool part about it is there's been a lot of people that say you didn't learn anything, you didn't know nothing. There are some cool behind the scenes stuff. I don't think that the world knows a lot about Whit Weeks, but this, you're going to love Whit Weeks if you watch this, if you don't already. He's impossible to not like when you watch this. So there are things like that come out of this that are actually pretty cool.
I thought Whit would be the star of SEC Media Days. He's a great personality, never stops smiling, and when you combine the personality with the player, you have a winning combination. He's pretty awesome. If he stays healthy, I mean he could be All-American, Butkus, all that sort of stuff this year. He's pretty awesome.
All right, so we heard Brian Kelly, his updates on Garret Nussmeier. Just downplaying this, not a big deal. Give us what you know. What are the updates of everything happening with this apparent knee injury right now?
Yeah, guys, I really think it's kind of a nothing burger. We were not, so just full disclosure, Brian Kelly has given the media great access. I don't know, I mean, y'all might know better than me. I don't know that this happens anywhere. We're going to practice today at 9:45. We get to watch the whole thing. So he lets us watch a ton. It just happens that last Wednesday, whenever this incident, whatever happened, there was a day we were not allowed in. And the way it was described to me was that Nussmeier had some discomfort and took himself out for a play. That's what was described to me that day. And the news, the rumor mill thing just grew and grew and grew. And I don't know, kind of like a game of telephone. Brian Kelly was not supposed to meet with reporters on Friday. We met with Joe Sloan, but after practice, before Sloan came in, Kelly came in unprompted and just gave his 3-minute update to clear the air. I mean, the one thing I would tell you to consider, guys, is, as Kelly said, this stems from a surgery Nuss had in 2023, which means he played all of last year with this same issue, and he threw for 4,000 yards. I think this feels really like a mountain out of molehill. Again, we get to go to prep. Media had access Saturday. Nuss participated fully. We get to go watch the full practice this morning. I anticipate he'll be out there. But one thing that'll certainly happen is if there is anything amiss, we'll all be looking for it now. But I really don't think that this is in any way not based on everything, not just what Brian Kelly said to us the other day, but the handful of people within the team and the program I've spoken to since last Wednesday. It really feels like this is not going to be anything that's limiting in any way.
This just is concerning to me regardless. I know he played with it last year, like you referenced, all of that is fine. But in the event in which he's not an All-American candidate, what does that mean for LSU because he could have some limitations or be dealing with pain or whatever that may be. If for whatever reason his play regresses and he's not top 3 quarterback in the country, what does that mean for the team overall?
Yeah, it means they're going to fall short of their goals. There's just so much on his shoulder, and if he has to miss time, guys, the reason they went into the portal and got Michael Van Buren from Mississippi State was they had to get somebody with experience in case, like, if Garret Nussmeier is to miss any length of time, LSU's their entire framework of their goals are just recalibrated. But like, if Nuss turns an ankle and, God forbid, had to miss a quarter or a half, you have a guy that started 8 SEC games that could go in and function. But being out there and watching it, Michael Van Buren and Colin Hurley are young guys with some potential, but neither is anywhere remotely close to being ready or capable of winning at a high level for LSU right now. So like, the most important thing, singular, there's not even a debate. The most important thing for LSU this year is keeping Garret Nussmeier healthy and upright for 12 games in the regular season, whatever type of postseason run they may make. If he's not, then the entire landscape and focus and conversation around LSU changes this year.
Matt Moscona joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, does radio in Baton Rouge, covers the LSU Tigers, giving us some updates on injuries around LSU camp. We had other questions when we talked to you at SEC Media Days. One of those revolved around running back. How has that position performing so far through fall camp?
So the thing that Joe Sloan the word he has used over and over is explosive or explosives, trying to find explosives in the running game. And they've done that. What they haven't been able to do is the consistent 5, 6, 7 yard gash plays. We'll go watch these 11-on-11 periods, and you'll see TFL, you'll see stuff, and then boom, Caden Durham 45-yard touchdown run. I think having Durham a year older is important because he was really good last year. And Cole, I think you and I talked about that. I think you did the game against South Alabama where he dislocated his toes.
Yes.
And so he played half the season last year with a steel plate in his cleat to keep his foot flat to protect those toes, and still ran for 700 yards, which was impressive. But Caden Durham looks really good. But even on top of that, I think they have to find a way to be effective running the football. LSU, when I tell people the statistic, it blows their mind. LSU was 107th in the country in rushing offense a year ago.
Crazy.
107th. They were dead last in the SEC. And a big part of it was because they didn't have a receiver that could stretch the field, safeties lived in the box, and they were just unable to run. I think being very intentional in the portal, adding Nick Anderson, Barry, and Brown to go with a healthy Chris Hilton. Now they have guys that can threaten vertically, and I think that is going to soften up the running game. At least that's the hope for them. But the flip side of the conversation is, guys, you got 5 new starters on the offensive line. And cohesion in that unit is, I think, the single biggest question so far in fall camp for LSU.
Sounds like the defense, though, is coming along. Everything I read and a couple folks I talked to are like, dude, Harold Perkins looks great. And we've heard that before. But Brian Kelly has even been outspoken in talking about him improving from an instinct standpoint, from just knowing how to play, how to manipulate opposing offense in coverage. It sounds like he's been real good. We know he can get after the quarterback when he blitzes off the edge. But when you look at Harold Perkins and his role and how he could blossom into the star we always anticipated him becoming, it sounds like he's closer now, Matt, than he's ever been before. Have you heard some of that?
Well, I've seen it. I think, Greg, that the point is they're finally putting him in a position where he can do that. I mean, when we watched, and this isn't speculative, right? You just said it. When we saw Harold as a freshman, we all saw the ability.
Right.
Right? I mean, he was spying Bryce Young. He had the 4 sacks against Arkansas. I mean, he's awesome. But then Harold wanted to play off the ball. And in his mind, as I understand it, people close to him, he was trying to project to the NFL to show the NFL he could be a 3-down linebacker and play off the ball. But that's like asking a Ferrari to tow a trailer up a mountain. That's not what you were built for. He's not Devin White. He's not one of those big inside off-ball linebackers that can get caught up in the wash with 300-pound linemen and make plays. they're playing him this year at the star position, which is sort of that hybrid outside linebacker safety. And so we're seeing him just live in space. So that's why you're hearing all those reports, because it is happening. I mean, last week he picked off Nuss in 7-on-7. He had a sack in an 11-on-11 period where he came on a blitz. He made a beautiful play where they ran a tight end screen to Bauer Sharp in the right flat, and Perkins shed a block and made it TFL. I mean, he's doing all the things that he's sort of built, physically and instinctively to do. Now, can he stay healthy for a full season? Will it manifest? Will there be a temptation to move him around even more? We'll see whenever the season starts and they get into all that. But I mean, they're playing him right now in that star role, and it is a much more natural fit for his ability. So I think the expectations and the hype are probably warranted for him if they keep him in that spot.
Matt Moscona covers the LSU Tigers, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Secondary, also a lot of new faces. That was a group that we had question marks about at media days coming into fall camp, but also a lot of veterans, guys that played a lot of football. Blake Baker feeling good, still questions. Where is he on this new LSU secondary?
I think the pass rush, from what we've seen, I think the pass rush is probably helping the secondary come along more quickly, because they went and invested so heavily in those ends and on the defensive line that they're causing so much disruption, it's helping the secondary. They're better. There's no doubt. I mean, I don't know that anyone's going to confuse this secondary with a secondary that has Patrick Peterson or Morris Claiborne, Derek Stingley, Tre'Davious White, Jamal Adams. Like, I don't know that I see the All-Americans in this secondary, but it's also not going to be the team from a couple of years ago where you're trying to make something out of Deuce Chestnut and Denver Harris, and it's just like literally the worst defense in the history of the program. Mansour Delane was a 2-year starter at Virginia Tech. I think he's going to start opposite Ashton Stamps, who's now in his 3rd year at LSU. But guys, the name, if I was going to give you a name, it's AJ Halsey, and I know nobody's going to know that name, but the thing LSU did this year in the portal was so intentional, is they went and got a bunch of veteran college football players. And Halsey's a guy that's played in 36 games with 33 starts. He was first team All Big 12 last year at Houston, led the conference in interceptions. He was a spring portal ad, so he was not even here for spring football, meaning so he's just basically done a week of fall camp. He already looks like the best safety on the team. Thick dude who can help in run coverage. He's a very instinctive player. It's a guy who, like, coming out of high school was a 3-star and nobody knew, but from the time you go from 18 to 21, a lot of times guys develop and get better. And he's a case in point of that. I mean, they were very intentional to go get old, veteran, experienced college football players in the portal. And if you're looking in the secondary, that's a guy who's a name I think people are probably going to get to know pretty well this year, because he looks the part.
I don't think there's any doubts. Any other big surprises for you? Anything else that you've it's really opened your eyes, be it positive or negative, with fall camp so far there in Baton Rouge?
We have gotten to see a bunch of special teams. Damian Ramos is back. He's been the place kicker since Kelly showed up. He's had a little accuracy issues. That's something to watch. But the biggest question, guys, is on the offensive line. I mean, they're literally going to have 5 starters in new positions. I mean, you had 4 guys drafted. DJ Chester's the only returning starter, and he's moving from center to guard. So Cole, you could probably speak better to this. When they do these individual, like, pass rush periods, the offensive line wins a ton. When they go team period, it's like the defense wears purple, the offense wears white. It's like a purple avalanche, just this wave falling on the offense. So it tells me that the talent's good on the offensive line, but the cohesion of those 5 trying to play as one is still got a ways to go.
Yeah, you might not know. You might not know the answer to this because it may not be showing up. But, like, how much are they doing when they go to team? Is it typical Blake Baker, and they're mixing it up and they're bringing the house, or doing different? Oh, yeah. Okay, well then there's
Oh yeah. Well, I don't think Blake Baker knows another speed.
But I mean, like, we talked about Hugh Freeze saying, hey, we tell DJ, calm it down, because I need my quarterback to look good. I need him to build confidence. Yeah. Now, it sounded like it was the opposite over the weekend, but I mean, the head coach can still say, hey, sit in base. Let's see how this looks. But my thought to that would be, I don't like that for the defense in one-on-ones, because that is, as Greg will tell you, that is a drill that leans defense. The defensive linemen should win most of your one-on-ones. They don't have to worry about quarterback run. They don't have to worry about quarterback scramble. There's no keeping the quarterback in the pocket. You can bull rush and not have to worry about a guy stepping up or stepping outside in the pocket. None of that is of any concern. There's no guard. If you bull rush, it's going to come break your ribs. You don't have to worry about that. But boy, that would bother me in team if guys couldn't pass stuff off. So that would tell me that the understanding of the defense and scheme is probably great.
Probably.
And they're probably an unselfish group, but individually might not be the scariest group of pass rushers that you've got, which can be okay based on how they operate.
We'll see, man. They are, you look at Patrick Payton coming in from Florida State. He's a guy that's proven. Jack Pyburn coming in from Florida. They got bodies and dudes that have done it, man. I'll be
But
surprised.
that's why I thought Pyburn was such a good get. Like, Pyburn's a battering ram. Like, he just wants to crack skulls. He wants to trade paint. And so if you say, hey man, if you go down inside, this guard's not going to be expecting it. You're going to be able to tee off on him. Now, you're probably not getting the sack.
Yeah.
But by God, it's going to feel good. And you're going to make him look really bad on film. Like, Pyburn feels like a guy that would accept that role with open arms. Like, same thing with Whit Weeks. I mean, I don't know if Patrick Payton feels like that kind of guy for me, but like, he went and got some guys that are going to be able to fill that role extremely well.
Another guy who's been impressive, whose a name like people won't know, is they got another spring portal guy from South Florida named Bernard Gooden. And he's 6'1", 268, and you wouldn't think that plays in the SEC, but remember, they brought in Kyle Williams as the defensive line coach. And Kyle wants guys that look like him and play like him. And there's been times where it's been like a turnstile with Bernard Gooden getting into the backfield. So it's just interesting. That's another guy that's played. He's a fifth-year guy. It's just.
I'll tell you this, Matt. I'll tell you
so much ball.
I'll tell you a quick story. So when I played against Georgia in my career, I played against Kendrell Bell, who was the National Football League Defensive Player of the Year, his rookie year. I played against Richard Seymour, who's in the Hall of Fame, Marcus Stroud. They had just NFL guys everywhere. And then my junior year, later in the game, they bring in a dude named Josh Mallard. And he played nose guard in their bear look. And Josh Mallard asked Matt Stinchcomb who gave more guys more problems in practice of all those dudes I just mentioned. And he'll tell you 98 was the dude that nobody wanted to go against. And he was a probably 6'1", 270-pound white dude. But he had legit wiggle. And, like, he had quicks, man. And, like, he just knew how to set you up and get you beat the other way. I remember coming off the field because my offensive line coach at that time was at Georgia prior and played at Georgia. And he just came off with this smirk on his eye. He's like, I told you that dude was a handful. And he's like, he's more than he appears on film. And I was like, good Lord. I remember the first time Stinch and I ever talked about it, he just started dying laughing. So, like, there's dudes like that, man, that are they just know how to get it done. It's like Willie Lampkin over the weekend. Everybody's peeing their pants about Willie Lampkin because the dude's 5'11", 275. But it's like when you watched him at North Carolina, he knows how to play center. Like, he knows leverage. He knows body control. He knows hand placement. It's like, it's no surprise that it works. Like, some guys just know how to make it work, man. And if he's one of those guys, like, by the way, Greg and I didn't talk about that name much at all. But if he helps them, that'll be huge for that defense.
They just the way I've described it to everybody with this LSU team, and I understand every bit of skepticism because until Brian Kelly gets over the hump and does it, he hasn't done it, and that's an earned moniker. This program went so all in the transfer portal with their additions and the money they spent. It's like what Ole Miss did a year ago. They saw an opportunity. Fifth-year senior quarterback, like, we got the money, let's go spend it. That's what they did. They added 19 dudes that make them better at every level on both sides of the ball. I'm not telling you they're going undefeated. I'm not telling you they're winning the national championship. I'm just telling you that this program this year, their expectation is you better be in the playoff. With all the investment into this roster, and to surround Nussmeier with the pieces to be able to win it. Like, they are all in to be there this year, and if they're not, it will be a massive failure if this team doesn't find its way into a 12-team playoff.
Yep. And we air in Montgomery, actually. And I think Gooden's a Montgomery kid, if I'm not mistaken, at South Florida. So we appreciate you bringing that name up. Always great stuff, Matt. Thanks for hopping on, and we'll do it again soon.
All right, guys. We'll see you.
There you go. Matt Moscona joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking LSU. We'll come back, Greg, and kind of run through some of that, what that does for our opinion of LSU, maybe how it changes it for good or bad, all next right here on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, and three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.